Hi, my name is Noemie and this is Mairead. And we've together worked on the Limu project over the summer under the supervision of Libby and Courtney. This project was to work as a member of a team to develop a suite of consumer-facing resources to support Samoan villages around their seaweed value chain. So what does that mean? We had to come up with health and nutrition informations and also developed a concept to collect some stories that we could put together in various resources to share with the community that would promote the benefits of seaweed and encourage the local communities to participate in the seaweed value chain. So some of the deliverables that we had to work on were an infographic that I will show you in a minute, and also gather a lot of information on the nutritional profiles and value of seaweed, develop some recipes, and put this all together in handover documents and future recommendations, including literature review and resources that could be used to develop and implement a recipe book, and also to create this final presentation. So this is the infographic that we continue to work on from some work that was previously done by the student who was involved in last year's summer research project. We took this infographic and organised for it to be translated into Samoan, and also coordinated the graphic design process to transform this into flyers and banners that could be used by the partners on the ground in Samoa to educate the community on the different nutritional benefits of seaweed. The other task that we worked on, and this was really the bulk of our project, was to come up with a concept for a recipe book that would target the key health issues faced by the Samoan population and highlight the benefits of the two main types of seaweed that is found there in cooking, that is sea grapes and halimenia. This recipe book is really meant to be research-based, but presented in an easy-to-understand language and an attractive format, including storytelling, targeted messaging, and, of course, tasty recipes. So the vision we came up for the book was to have it separated in 5 sections that would address different key messaging and different groups that would hopefully be attracted to various aspects of seaweed uses and using seaweed in their cooking and day-to-day lives. So the first section is more around traditional cooking. The second section, which we called Cooking with Fire, was to appeal more to men. There's a section for kids to get involved and interested into healthy eating. A section on celebrations and festivities to gather some additional content around the uses of seaweed in Samoa, and also a section called Around the World to attract and gather additional information from various Pacific islands and beyond. And this is our mock-up project that we made in Canada that we could then use to present to the various stakeholders and project partners in Samoa to then gather their interest and secure their involvement into different aspects of the project.
So Noemie's just spoke a little bit more about our project and what we actually worked on. I'm going to speak a little bit more about our experiences and what we enjoyed and the challenges we might have faced. So I think I speak for both of us when I say we loved working on this project. It was amazing. We learned a lot, made a lot of networks and connections. I think we really just enjoyed working with such an amazing team, particularly with Libby and Courtney, who we work quite closely with, and with the math team in Samoa. We also loved learning more about seaweed and the benefits of seaweed. We all know it's good for us, but learning more about the nutritional profiles and the different vitamins and minerals you can find in seaweed was incredible. And learning more about Samoan culture. We're both quite fascinated with the different traditions in Samoa, their different uses of seaweed, how they celebrate their church ceremonies and their weddings, and everything about Samoan culture that we learned through our research and readings just was really incredible and fascinating. Some of the challenges we faced was communicating with the Samoan partners. This was mainly due to just it being a shorter summer research project and that falling over Christmas, which is obviously a big celebration in Samoa, and it was a little bit hard to work out schedules and line up those face-to-face Zoom meetings. Also finding research that was specific to Samoa. There was quite a bit of research on the key health issues that we uncovered. However, they were related on a broad scale or to Western areas. It was a bit harder to find that specific to Samoa. We also found it difficult to collect stories, which was something that we really wanted to include in the recipe book, as it gives a bit more of a personal touch and it brings in that culture. However, not being there ourselves and having to rely on those third parties, finding capacity in their schedules to do that was a bit difficult. And in saying that, the cultural differences, so not being there ourselves, not being able to taste the seaweed, it was quite difficult to come up with recipes that would highlight the benefits, not knowing the costs associated. So we could create recipes, but we weren't sure about the different costs of particular ingredients, and also just not knowing the traditions and the meaning behind the traditions. It would have been a lot easier, I suppose, if we were able to be there in person and experience some of the traditions ourselves and touch base rather than going through a third party. In saying that, our key learnings and reflections was definitely being able to work together. I think having pairs on the project is amazing, and it was really good for us to bounce ideas off each other and come up with different creative and unexpected outcomes. Understanding the context of applied research in the Pacific, specifically in Samoa, and how this impacts project scoping and delivery. Being open and flexible to better explore a topic through various perspectives and approaches, and definitely the importance of ongoing note-taking and keeping resources and references organised, particularly when we were working with recipes and having to go back and find where we sourced our recipes from and where the different research and study reflections came from. And our recommendations, as this will be an ongoing project, is definitely to continue that liaising with the math team in Samoa, who we've made quite good connections with now. So hopefully that partnership will continue. To collect those stories I mentioned earlier and to include those in the recipe book. Obviously, to translate the recipe book, a broad portion of it will be written in English, so translating that into Samoan so it can be distributed through the community and used in workshops as they see fit. To consider other formats, it would be amazing to see our recipe book get transformed into an app or something that was a bit more mobile, a little bit more interactive, maybe some sort of game to get the kids involved a little bit more. And of course, it would be amazing for the project if we were able to get the funding to send a student over to Samoa, so we could have a person on the floor to do those stories, collecting, learn a bit more about the traditions and discover the associated costs associated with the recipes. But in saying that, overall, we have very much loved being part of this project. It is very hard to say goodbye, but we look forward to seeing the end project, and we would just like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be part of the team.
Thank you.